So this will be another Big Bill Broonzy lesson, this time on a song called C and A Blues. And one of the guitarists in this song is of course Big Bill Broonzy playing lead guitar, and the second guitarist accompanying him is his mentor Lasky playing rhythm guitar. So I'll go over both parts, and both of them are pretty much just riffing. There's nothing really that arranged going on, so I'll just go over the riffs that each of them play. And the tuning that I'm in is the same as the tuning from the previous Big Bill Broonzy lesson, so that's with my strings tuned down a couple steps, just so that it kind of matches the pitch of what they're playing. So I'll just go over what Big Bill might typically play on one of the choruses of C and A Blues. Okay, so for me, this starts kind of on the 9th fret, but depending on the tuning that you're using, it won't really matter because this is all within a closed position. So as long as your root note on the 4th string is where you position your first finger, you should be fine. So for me, in this case, it's the 9th fret. Okay, so this is really a lot of licks that are really typical of what you might hear from a lot of 1920s guitar players, whether it be Lonnie Johnson or Eddie Lang, or basically all of them. And what he does is he just plays the 5 note with his pinky finger. For me, it's the 10th fret of the 5th string. Then a bend on the 9th fret of the 4th string. And what this is really imitating are the horn players of that era. So if you listen to players like Louis Armstrong, they really play around with this. So consequently, all the guitar players, of course, repeated that. And that's what you're hearing here. So here, it's just that lick, and then involving the 3rd string, just the notes directly underneath. So in this case, on the 7th and 9th frets. You should just get used to this. Notice I'm just throwing it in. These 2 notes on the 3rd string, the 5 and 6, really lead into that root. And then from there, you can really play around with this bend, which involves that minor 3rd. Okay, and then what he might do here is this. So involving the higher register again, playing that 5 note on the 10th fret of the 5th string, and now this note, it's the 6, and it's played on the 7th fret of the top string. So again, it's the 5 and 6, and we were just using that on the 3rd string, but now he's using displaced octave. So that lick goes like this: 5, 6, then 5 to the 3, major 3rd. And the major 3rd here can be played on the 7th fret of the 5th string. and then he does that little bend. So just really get used to that lick, because that section of notes right there is what he'll use quite a bit on this recording. Now again, on this middle register that goes bend to the root, 6, which is played on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and back to the root. Then when he gets to the 4 chord, he'll just do a lot of the middle register stuff. And so we already know what the notes for that are, 5 and 6, and then these 3 notes, which 3rd one you can just bend into. Now the reason that sounds good is because the 6th note is the major 3rd of this new 4 chord, and that minor 3rd that we're bending into constantly is the flat 7 of that 4 chord. Now, just another note for how to play this little bend. To get it in the style of those players that I was mentioning earlier from this era of music, it's really good to kind of squeeze it out and then cut it off, and then once you return to, I guess, equilibrium position so that there's no bend, you replay the note, the string. Rather than getting this sound, which is kind of more typical of what you hear in 1960s and onwards guitar. In this earlier era, it's really cut off and separated one note from the next. It was, I guess, not really 1960s, it was pretty much B.B. King that you really start to hear this. Bend coming back down, but here we want to separate it. Now when we return back to the 1 chord, you'll be playing a lot of the same licks, but one lick that he'll play in particular, in variation of the others, will go like this. And to finish this off, he'll play the 5. Okay? Now this will lead into turnaround. The way this is played is a little walk up from the 3 to the 5. So 5th string, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then 9th fret of the 4th string. Actually, sorry, walk back to the 7th, then the 9th fret of the 4th string. Then you can either slide into the 10th fret here, or bend it. And then to finish this off, he'll typically play the same bending riff. And then finish it off with this lick. That pretty much covers everything that Big Bill will play. Now going on to what Lasky plays in the rhythm section, I'll just give you a sample of what he might play. What Louis Lasky does as the rhythm guitarist of the song is he just outlines the chords. And so in this case, being a simple blues, he'll just play the chord tones. So for instance, is kind of play connect the dots and just add in chromatic notes and scale tones to basically make it all a very seamless tour through the chord progression. So what is originally the skeleton like this, he'll add this in. He might do something fancy like this. And so this is really just a sample of what he might play, and you'll have to forgive me if I don't actually play exactly what I played as a demonstration, but this is just so that you can actually start to develop your own bass lines in this style. So for the most part, I think I'll be pretty close to what I played originally, and pretty close to what he actually plays on the first chorus. So what I heard kind of goes along the lines of this. Starting with the root, in this case on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then just walking up to the major 3rd from the 2nd. So for instance there, chord tone, scale tone, chromatic, and then chord tone. Then he'll go on the 5, go back to the 1. Now he goes to the major 3rd again, but an octave below. So this is just to the 2nd fret of the bottom string. 5, 3, 2. Back to the 5th fret of the bottom string, and then to the root. You're kind of trying as best as you can to emulate the bass that would have been used a lot in blues recordings of that era. So usually a washboard bass. And so what that might do to a bass line like this is add in little ghost notes. So what I'm doing right there, just to kind of emulate that, I'm just plucking a muffled note on the 2nd string. And you want to do it subtly. I think I'm trying to exaggerate it too much and mess it up, but you kind of get what I'm demonstrating there. So after that, what he'll do to lead into the 4 chord is something like this. So really simple, all he's doing is going down the scale in thirds, down the dominant 7th scale, Mixolydian scale. So starting on the 7th fret of the 2nd string, down to the 5th, 3rd, back to the 5th, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, open, and then to the 4, which is actually the 3rd fret of the bottom string. And again, he's just playing chord tones to outline the chord. 1, 3, 5, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, and 3rd fret of the bottom string, 2nd and 5th frets of the 2nd string. And then just walking up, connecting the dots again. So that's just from open, 2nd, 3rd. And then walking again, because we're coming back to the 1 chord, walking to the 5. And then 6. I'm actually saying the chord numbers, so these aren't to be confused with the fret numbers. 5, 6, 1. Now the frets are the 5th fret, 7th fret, and 5th fret of the 2nd string. And then he might do something like this. Walking to the 3rd, and then to the root. 7th fret of the bottom string, because what he's now doing is leading into this note. Okay? So we're on the 7th fret, and now walking into the 7th fret of the 2nd string. And then 4th fret of the 2nd string, 5th fret of the bottom string, and then he does this. So from here, walking to the 7th fret, walking up to the 9th, and he kind of slips back and keeps going up. And then from here, scale up to the root. So 5th fret, 7th fret, now on the 2nd string, 4th fret, 5th fret. So there are all sorts of ways that you could change that bass line up using that principle of playing chord tones on beats 1 and 3 and chromatics and scale tones on beats 2 and 4. So this is getting into a theoretical kind of thing. You don't necessarily have to think of it this way, but it's kind of food for thought. You know, anything really. So hopefully that sheds some light as to what Louis Lasky's doing, and also gives you some ideas for creating some more bass lines in this style for this kind of music.